Now we'll start with the new topic, catalysis. Right. In this we will study about different types of catalysis, heterogeneous and homogeneous catalysis, and different types of catalysts. Right. And by now we are already familiar with the definition of catalyst. What is catalyst from our previous classes, and we have also studied about catalyst, right, and its effect on the rate of reaction in chemical kinetics. Right. I already have a video made on the effect of catalyst on the speed of reaction. Right, you can go ahead and watch that video as well. Right, it's in complete detail what a catalyst does in the reaction. Right, what is its job in increasing the speed of reaction. Right, so the definition of catalyst we'll look at. Right, we are already familiar with it, that a catalyst is a substance, right, that alters the speed of reaction or changes the speed of reaction without itself undergoing any change. That is, the catalyst will remain same at the end of reaction as you have taken it in the beginning of reaction. It will not undergo any change. It would be recovered at the end of reaction as you have taken it in the beginning of reaction. Right, so catalyst is a substance. First thing is, it alters the rate of reaction or the speed of reaction. Right, and the second most important thing about catalyst is it does not undergo any change, right, during the chemical reaction, any change. Right, so these are two most important features of a catalyst. Right, and since I said it can alter the rate of reaction or the speed of reaction, right, so it's not that it will always increase the speed of reaction. A catalyst will also decrease the speed of reaction. Right, so catalyst can increase the speed of reaction as well as decrease the speed of reaction. Right, now let's take a little look at at how a chemical reaction occurs, right, as per the collision theory of reaction rates that we have done in chemical kinetics. Right, as per collision theory, a reaction occurs when collision takes place between the reactant molecules. Right, first is collision between reactants. Right, and the second most important thing is, when a collision takes place between reactant molecules, the reactant molecules should be possessing a minimum energy. Right, the reactant molecules should be carrying minimum energy called as threshold energy. Only when the reactant molecules will approach each other, right, with the threshold energy, right, then only they will react and will form products. Otherwise there would be no products if the energy of the reactants is less than threshold energy. Right, so energy of colliding molecules should be equal to minimum energy called as threshold energy. Right, and there is one more factor, right, in collision theory that we called as orientation factor, that these colliding molecules should be oriented in such a way that when they collide they should form products. Right, it's not that in any orientation reactants will collide to form products. There is one specific orientation. Only in that orientation, when the reacting molecules will collide, they will form products. Right, with that is known as orientation barrier, and this energy is known as your energy barrier. Right, what we mean when we say energy barrier, these reactant molecules, as we said, should possess minimum energy called as threshold energy. Right, so the reactant molecules should be able to cross this energy barrier, right, which is your threshold energy. Only when reactant molecules possess energy equal to or greater than this threshold energy, which is your energy barrier, then only they will form products. Otherwise, they will just collide and bounce back, no products, right? And third is orientation barrier, as we have discussed. Orientation barrier. Right? Now, when we study about catalyst, we would be looking at points 1 and 2, right? Collision between the reactant, how it can increase the collision between the reactant molecules, and how it can affect the energy barrier of the reaction, right? So catalyst, we'll look at how catalyst can affect collision, right? And second is how it can affect energy barrier, right? We have already discussed these in the chemical kinetics, right, where we studied effect of catalyst on the rate of chemical reaction, right? So just a little brief about this, because we will do this in next video lecture in theory of catalysis, right? Catalyst, suppose this is a solid catalyst, right? We'll see how it can affect the collisions. What it does is, it's a solid, right? We have studied about adsorption, right? So what a solid does, what a solid catalyst does in the chemical reaction is, it provides surface to the reacting molecules, right? So the reacting molecules, say A plus B giving you C. So these reacting molecules A and B, right? These molecules will get adsorbed, right? These molecules, reacting molecules, will get adsorbed on the surface of this catalyst, right? Thereby, when they get adsorbed on the surface of this catalyst, they come close to one another, right? So these reacting molecules come close to one another. So when they are close to one another, their concentration increases, right? So the concentration of reactant molecules on the surface of this catalyst is high, right? So when the concentration is high, the collisions will increase, right? So it has affected the collision, right, by increasing the concentration of reactants on its surface, right? So catalyst through adsorption, right, through adsorption increases concentration of reactants, right, thereby increasing collision, right, thereby increasing collision rate, right? So at the surface of catalyst, how catalyst is helping to increase the speed of reaction here is, it will let these reactant molecules to get adsorbed on its surface, right, thereby increasing the concentration, and finally the collision between the reactant molecules will increase. So more is the collision, more is the rate of reaction, right? And second factor, energy factor. Energy factor is, we say that catalyst provides an alternative path to a reaction. That alternative path has less energy barrier, right? It will reduce the threshold energy, right? So if you remember, we have done this in chemical kinetics. It was this kind of a reaction, right? Suppose energy of the reactants, right? Suppose energy of the reactants is this ER, right? And this is the energy barrier, which is your threshold energy, right? This is your threshold energy, right? So most of the reactants have energy equal to ER, right? And we know that ER is less than ETH, right? Only some molecules that have energy equal to this threshold energy, only those molecules can pass or can cross this energy barrier to form products, right? Because these reactant molecules have to cross this energy barrier, right, to form products, right? So molecules that have energy less than threshold energy, right, what they will do is they will simply collide and bounce back, no products. So what we do is we supply some energy to these reactant molecules that have energy less than threshold energy, right? That extra amount of energy that we give to reactant molecules so that their energy becomes equal to threshold energy, we call that energy as activation energy, right? So this is your, and what is that activation energy? This is, suppose this is the energy of reactants. They have to reach at this level to form products, right? So this is the energy of reactants, and till this point we have threshold energy. So this is the extra energy, right? To this extra energy we call as activation energy. Activation energy denoted by EA, right? So reactant molecules should be supplied with energy equal to activation energy so that their energy becomes equal to threshold energy and they can form products. Now let's see what catalyst does in this. What catalyst will do? Catalyst will lower down this energy barrier, right? So suppose now the energy barrier will look like this, right? This graph has come down from this point till this point, right? Let me show you with a different color. This is the new energy barrier now, right? Which is after the introduction of catalyst in this reaction, right? Now this is the energy barrier, right? Which is much lower than compared to the reaction when there was no catalyst, right? So what this catalyst is doing here is, the job of catalyst in chemical reaction is that it lower down the potential energy barrier. This is what we used to say in chemical kinetics. So it lowers down the energy barrier or the potential energy barrier, right? Now many molecules, now since the energy barrier has come down, right? So all those reactant molecules, right, that have energy, right, which is equal to this energy, right? Let's say this energy as En, new energy level, right? So now molecules that have even this much energy, right, they will also be able to cross this barrier, right, and will form products, right? So now even molecules that have higher energy, which was equal to original threshold energy, they will form products. Now those molecules also that does not have energy equal to the original threshold energy, they would also be able to form products because catalyst has introduced a new alternate path, right? This path. Now the reactant molecules that have less energy, they will go through this path and will form products. So the job of the catalyst is that it lowers the energy barrier, right? So this is the most important thing about catalyst. It increases the collision rate and it lowers down the energy barrier, right? Now since I said catalyst alters the speed of reaction, right? So when we say it alters the speed of reaction, it can, what we mean is it can change the speed of reaction. When we say change the speed of reaction, it can decrease the speed of reaction as well. Instead of increasing, it can also decrease the speed of reaction of already ongoing reaction. When you introduce a catalyst, it can even reduce the speed of reaction or it can increase the speed of reaction, right? So catalyst, since it can alter the speed of reaction, right, or it can change the speed of reaction, so those catalysts that increases the speed, they are termed as positive catalyst. They are positive catalyst, and those catalysts that decreases, right, or retards the speed of reaction, they are known as negative catalysts, right? So we have a positive catalyst now and a negative catalyst, right? So example of positive catalyst is, if you remember the contact process for the manufacture of sulfuric acid, we have done oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide, right, in the presence of platinum or vanadium pentoxide. This is the example of positive catalyst, where catalyst increases the speed of reaction, right? And the example of negative catalyst is oxidation of chloroform in the presence of alcohol, right? Where I think it forms phosgene. You have done, you would be doing this reaction in organic chemistry, right? The example of negative catalyst is oxidation of chloroform CHCl3 in presence of alcohol, right? So speed of reaction can be increased or decreased, right? Based on that, we have a positive catalyst and a negative catalyst. Negative catalyst will decrease the speed of the chemical reaction, right? Now we have certain substances, right? Certain substances that can affect the efficiency of a catalyst, right? Or we say the substance that can increase the efficiency of a catalyst, right, or decrease the efficiency of a catalyst, right? There are substances that can lower the activity, right? Now there are substances, there are two types of substances that can lower the activity of a catalyst and increase the activity of a catalyst, right? You can increase the activity, right, activity of catalyst, or they can decrease the activity of a catalyst. Activity, we know activity is a term that we use for catalyst where it increases the speed of reaction, right? So substances that can increase the activity of a catalyst, right, those substances are called as promoters, right? And substances that decrease the activity of catalyst, right, they are known as poisons or catalytic poisons. Since they are affecting the activity of a catalyst, right, they are lowering down the activity of a catalyst, so they are known as catalytic poisons. The example of promoters are, they can increase the activity of a catalyst. If you remember, in Haber's process, in the manufacture of ammonia, we use molybdenum in the presence of molybdenum with iron catalyst, right? So iron in the presence of molybdenum will increase the rate of reaction, right? So the activity of catalyst iron, right, will increase in the presence of molybdenum, right? So molybdenum is your promoter because it is promoting the activity of a catalyst, right? So this is it about promoters and poisons, right? So I'll just mention over here, nitrogen plus hydrogen, right, in the presence of iron, right, and you have molybdenum, it will form ammonia, right? It will form ammonia. So molybdenum here, which is increasing the activity of a catalyst, right? Catalyst will act more efficiently in the presence of molybdenum. So this molybdenum is your promoter, right? So molybdenum is your promoter. And then you have catalytic poisons. The example of catalytic poison is sometimes some arsenic substances, right? Arsenic substances act as catalyst, act as these catalytic poisons, right? It's arsenic oxide, right? Arsenic oxide in the lead chamber process will act as catalytic poison, right? So here some arsenic compounds, right, will behave as catalytic poisons. So arsenic compounds like As2O3, right, if you use it in this reaction, if you use this in this reaction, in the oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide, here this arsenic oxide will act as your catalytic poison, right, where its job is to lower the efficiency of a catalyst, right. So if you do this reaction SO2 plus O2 in the presence of platinum and your As2O3, this, right, it will form sulfur trioxide, but it will reduce the activity of platinum catalyst, right. So what could be the reason behind increasing the activity of a catalyst and decreasing the activity of a catalyst? Reason behind decreasing the activity of a catalyst is, we said that job of a catalyst is that it provides a surface, right, and onto this surface the reactant molecules will get adsorbed, right. So what these catalytic poisons will do, these catalytic poisons will get adsorbed onto the catalyst surface on the active site of this catalyst, right. Instead of reactants, these catalytic poisons will get adsorbed on the surface of catalyst, right. So there is no surface, right, for catalyst in the presence of these catalytic poisons, because the surface is taken over by these catalytic poisons, thereby affecting the efficiency of catalyst, right. Now you have less surface for the reactant molecules, right, when you have taken this catalytic poisons, right. Some of the surface area is occupied by the catalytic poisons because now they are also adsorbed on the surface of catalyst. Now if you talk about, so the reason for this is these poisons get adsorbed on the active site, of catalysts, right. And what could be the reason for the increase in the activity of a catalyst? For this you need to understand one theory of catalysis, adsorption theory, right. We have done this in the process of adsorption in the beginning of this surface chemistry, and we have done this in the catalyst, in the chemical kinetics as well, right. What happens is, if you have a surface, right, we have studied this before, if you have this, say this is a nickel catalyst, right, or say this is a platinum catalyst, right, where platinum atoms are bonded, right, to one another, right. Now if you rub this surface, or if you cut it, let's say if you cut it or you rub it, it will break the bond, right. Suppose this is your catalyst, right. So when you remove, if you break it or you rub it, it will remove the upper layer, right, thereby generating these valencies, these bonds, right. So now you have these available valencies. If you say if you break it, right, or you rub it, now it will generate these bonds are broken, right, between these atoms, between these platinum atoms, right. If you just rub this or break this, right, it will generate these valencies, right. So these are unsatisfied valencies, right, where the bond between the platinum atom is broken. So now these are active centers on the surface, right, and due to these unsatisfied valencies or active centers, right, the surface will get more reactive, right. When the surface will get more reactive, it will allow more reactant molecules to get adsorbed, right, onto its surface, right, or it will form temporary bonds with the reactant molecules. This is what we used to say, right. We would be doing this theory in the next video lecture in detail, right. So in this video lecture, just understand that when you just break this, or you rub the surface of catalyst, it will generate these unsatisfied valencies, right? So due to these unsatisfied valencies, the surface of catalyst will become more reactive, right? Thereby it will form more bonds with the more temporary bonds with the reactant molecules, thereby increasing their concentration on the surface of catalyst, right? The first point, and thereby more chances of collision and reaction between reactant molecules, right? So promoters, what promoters will do, what these promoters will do, it will make the surface of the catalyst rough, thereby generating these unsatisfied valencies, right? Promoters will make the surface rough, thereby generating valencies, generating or forming unsatisfied valencies, right? And it is due to these unsatisfied valencies that the activity of catalyst will increase, right? Now we have two types of catalysis, right? Two types of catalysis we have, right? The first type of catalysis is your homogeneous catalysis, right? And the second type of catalysis is your heterogeneous catalysis, right? So homogeneous catalysis is, for example, homogeneous catalysis is when the catalyst is in the same phase as the reactant molecules, that is your homogeneous catalysis. And when the reactant molecules, when the catalyst is in the different phase, right, compared to the reactant molecules, then that is your heterogeneous catalysis, right? So catalysis is of two types. Catalysis, two types. First is your homogeneous catalysis, and second is your heterogeneous catalysis. Right? In homogeneous catalysis, catalyst is in same phase as reactants, and in heterogeneous, hetero means different, right, and homo means same, so same as reactants, right? Same phase as reactants is homogeneous, and hetero is different, so different phase compared to the reactants. So here catalyst is in different phase, right? The example of homogeneous catalysis is your the reaction between sulfur dioxide and oxygen, oxidation of sulfur dioxide to form sulfur trioxide in the presence of nitric oxide, NO, right? This is your homogeneous catalysis. Here sulfur dioxide is gas, oxygen is gas, and nitric oxide is also gas, right? Here catalyst is in same phase as your reactants, so this is your homogeneous catalysis. And here if you want to take the example of heterogeneous catalysis, it's, for example, this is your heterogeneous catalysis. If you carry the same reaction, SO2 plus oxygen in the presence of platinum to form sulfur trioxide, here catalyst is a solid and your reactants are gases, right? So this is an example of heterogeneous catalysis. And more examples are your, right, you have for homogeneous catalysis you have acid base catalysis, right? We would be doing acid base catalysis in next video lecture, right? In this video lecture, just understand that if catalyst is in same phase, right, it is homogeneous catalysis, and if catalyst is in different phase, like here in platinum, this is your, in case of platinum, this is your heterogeneous catalysis, right? I hope all this is clear to you. Thanks.